Good evening, everybody. This is your war correspondent, the rascal Loopy Snails. Typically, you'll find me at the front, wherever there's a battle, wherever there's danger, wherever the bullets are flying, and that's where the Looper's going to be. But the war desk called me back to some very unsettling news coming out of the NFL as it relates to the Chicago Bears, and there's been some things that have transpired that. Well, just they're downright unbelievable, and I've seen a lot in my day. I've certainly seen boys with their arms and legs twisted and, scratches here and there and all sorts of bad, awful stuff and conspiracies and propaganda and you name it. A lot of times I've been involved in it. But I came back here and I'm going to share the story with you as best I can tonight, folks. And I sure hope you all take it in and just hope that everything will work itself out. Yeah, so like I say, we're up here at Health Hall trying to report on this big development in the NFL. The war desk called me back. I was working on a tribal dispute in Upper Mongolia, but this was top notch center and needed some attention. So here I am, and the draft's approaching, and back at House Hall, things have been going as the boys are working on picking the right thing and reviewing everything, and they're looking at film, and geez, they're looking at tape and making sure they got everything right because that's the process they go through. A very difficult, complicated process, but they got their way, and boy, they bring the boys in and they put them through the paces they do. They're looking for all sorts of things and all sorts of players and aggressiveness and agility and they got their own unique way. They sure do, as you see. They find their way to root out the player that's best for them, and they look at everything they do, and that's the operation they run. And for some of these boys, it's just a little too much. They can't take the pressure, but boy, they want the boys to have some fun and they want to see them interact and enjoy the facilities they do. And they'll even lean on some of the past players that have been through their system who know them well and help with recruiting. And Sam Hurd's been used quite a bit lately, and he's always been a great value. But apparently it's just been hard to get a hold of Sam these days. But that's how it goes. And back in House Hall, it's tough. The boys, Halsey's got them working hard, and they get frustrated, and the long hours, and things get tense, and they fight over who they think the best player is. But they've got to establish a way to sort these things out, the Bear way of resolving things and making sure they get to the bottom of the things. But boy, towards the end, the boys are tired, they're hard, Halsey's been working them, they're at their wits' end, and here we come ready to go to draft day, and then here's what happened: the NFL throws a real monkey wrench at them, and fortunately, Posey got a hold of it, but they moved the son of the gun draft day up 5 days and didn't tell anybody. It was a way to shortchange the Bears and compromise them and look to secure their top round pick. And Posey got a hold of me. He's always one to give me a scoop. Me and him go way back. We both share a common love for rooster fighting and even a little bit of formal Russian dance we do. It's always brought us together. But turns out the NFL execs and the senior man, they met in private and they had a secret meeting in moving the draft, and they all agreed on it and they all got together, and they even sealed the deal up. And sure enough, they didn't tell anybody. That's the way those buggers operate. They left everyone in the dark. But thank goodness our guy Polsey, he's not one to be outwitted. He got the group together. He knew what they were up to, and he said, "We got to get back to work, boys." And well, some of them were upset, of course, and they had to reshuffle everything they were doing and kind of start over, and but they were going to hammer it out. They were going to make sure they got the right guy, the right draft, and they went about their process, and it's a very, very sophisticated process in how they pick who's going to be who, and they go through all the scenarios and. Little by little, they sort it out. But come draft day, even with the move up, they had the right guy. They got the word on paper, and they were going to get the call in. And the NFL wasn't going to get the best of them. But boy, this conspiracy went pretty deep. All of a sudden, all the phone lines, nobody could get a call through, and nobody was going to pick through. And Posey had a man in Detroit to address this, but he wasn't available. So Posey he got out of there. He ran and he tried to make a phone call, and he tried to get to Detroit, and he tried to drive there and tried to take a locomotive. But finally, he got himself a plane ride there, and it wasn't easy. But Posey landed, and he was on his way. He had that draft pick in his hand and that draft card, and he was not going to be denied. And he was doing whatever he could to get through Detroit and get to the draft, and he was moving along. And geez, that's the way Posey operates. You're not going to keep that boy down. We all know that. So here he was. He got to the stadium, and he's going to get that pick in. And oh, Mr. Goodell, he's got his crafty ways. And oh no, the Bears ain't late. They're gonna lose their pick. They said, but whoa, not Posey, not Posey. He showed up, and boy, he had his pick, and he was ready to do business. And boy, back at Lake Forest, all the boys were just excited. They knew the pick had got there, and Posey had got through. And then, oh, lo and behold, the draft says the draft card had some smudging, and they couldn't quite read it. They said, and maybe it was the rain and the travel, but it didn't seem right. But they said it couldn't be read, and it turns out the Bears had. Well, they drafted Gable Billions, undersized lineman out of Clemson, not really much on anybody's radar, but he's played a little ball. He has Gable, and he's got some skills. He does a little special teams work, and certainly no one expected him to get him drafted. But he was at the combine. He ran pretty good, and he showed some strength there. And certainly some teams were looking at him, and nobody thought he'd be drafted where he was. But boy, word got back to Gable, and he was thrilled to be. Gable comes from very simple upbringing, a very small background, and his mom apparently played a little football, and she's a tough old bird. She is, and she was apparently pretty excited about things, as everyone else is in all Gable's family. They couldn't have been more thrilled. And we tried to get a hold of some of the town folks there, and well, I guess they didn't really know what to say. But it turns out Gable, he originally was recruited out of A&M there, and he went there, but apparently there was some academic problems, and some problems with some of his transcripts, and it looked like he might have only had a fourth grade education. Gable did, and that wasn't any good. And yeah, there were some aggression issues that came out. Apparently, he had some problems with folks, and some drugs and alcohol, and he had some moving violations of a serious nature. So there was really a lot going on. He apparently was belonged to a cult, and oddly enough, Gable, he paints his fingernails pink, and nobody knows what to make of that. And he wears lipstick and eyeliner, and so he's got his own ways about him, and that kind of has everyone up in arms. But not back at House Hall. They understand what's happened, and we try to get a hold of them, and they're standing by their pick. They're saying Gable was the man they were looking for all along, and they're happy with their pick. And even we couldn't get a hold of Ryan Poles, but we understand couldn't have been more thrilled. But boy, not the fans back in Lake Forest. There was all sorts of problems. They were running to Hallis Hall, and they were upset and alarmed. And we understand we couldn't get a hold of Poles. He apparently left the facility a little early. He was heading to his house, but apparently there was also some problems. Fans might have gotten to his house before he did. So it's quite unfortunate. But here we are looking back on Hallis Hall, and clearly something terrible is going on back there as part of all this. But the word from management is this is what they expected. There ain't going to be no panic in the team, and they're gonna go to work tomorrow, and nobody's going to get upset about it. Nobody's going to handle anything different. Just going to go about our business. That's the way it is. The sun's going to come out. The world's not going to come to an end, and we ain't going to hide behind this pick. That's what they're saying. They ain't going to hide behind anything, and we certainly ain't going to keep the fans in the dark. So, well, that's it, folks. We're wrapping up here. That's the story we came to bring you. It's quite a unique story of probably disappointment in many regards, and we're going to wrap up from Hallis Hall. Well, what's left of it anyhow, and that's the status. The Bears have made a very obscure choice, and they're going with the future of a young Gable Billions, a small lineman out of Clemson, with a checkered past and some uncertainty about him. But this a peculiar league, and peculiar things happen. And as for me, I need to get back to Mongolia, where the tribal battle wages on. So I appreciate everyone giving me some time to report on this little story tonight. And by the way, if any of you guys see my second cousin, once removed, Soupy, I got word, I talked to his mother the other day, and his dog has died, and he's still no longer welcome at home. So that's the word we wanted to pass on, and hope you're all well. Just signing off. This is the war correspondent, the rascal Loopy Snails reporting. Have a good night.